This is a Danish English update on Iranian crisis. Protests turn deadly. China opposes US intervention, and Danish citizens are warned. All the latest updates in one report. Welcome to Danish-InfoNews TV. Today, 12th of January of 2026, we take an in-depth look at the escalating protests in Iran, where more than 500 people are reported dead, thousands arrested, and tensions with the United States rising. China has emerged as a key voice, urging restraint and warning against foreign intervention, even as Iran's Revolutionary Guard cracks down on demonstrators. Stay tuned as we break down the latest developments, explain the geopolitical stakes, and bring you the context you need to understand this critical situation. China urges stability as Iran protests escalate, warns against US intervention. As violent protests continue across Iran, China has emerged as a key international voice, urging restraint and respect for sovereignty, highlighting opposition to US military intervention aimed at rising tensions. China opposes US intervention. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Mao Ning stated, "We have always opposed interference in the internal affairs of other countries and consistently advocated that all nations' sovereignty and security should be fully protected under international law." Mao added that China hopes that Iranian government and people will be able to overcome the ongoing protests and maintain stability. China's comments come aimed at escalating unrest in Iran, in which at least 538 people are reported dead, thousands have been arrested, and internet and phone lines remain heavily restricted. Mao's remarks reflect Beijing's long-standing policy of opposing foreign intervention while emphasizing the importance of internal stability. Death toll and crackdown in Iran. According to the US-based human rights activist news agency IRINA, 538 people have been killed since protests began on December of 28, with 490 demonstrators and 48 security personnel among the dead. More than 10,600 arrests have been reported. Iranian authorities have not released official figures, and prolonged internet blockouts have made verification difficult. Oslo-based Iran Human Rights reports at least 192 demonstrators killed and warns the true toll may be higher. Iran's chief prosecutor, Mohammad Azad, warned that participants in the protests may be considered enemies of God, a charge carrying the death penalty. Let's look at the background on the protests. The unrest began after a sharp collapse in Iran's currency, prompting strikes in Tehran's bazaars. Demonstrations have since spread nationwide, evolving into a direct challenge to Iran's clerical regime. Yalda Sarkaj, a board member of Voice of Iran, says the protests reflect a people exhausted after 47 years under the current system. Citizens are calling not for reforms, but for a complete system change, openly chanting against Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and displaying the pre-revolutionary Iranian flag. Iran's Revolutionary Guard. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRCG, remains the regime's most powerful security force. Founded in 1979 to protect the clerical regime, controls large part of the economy and has substantial political influence, oversees Iran's missile program and maintains its own army, navy, and air force. Personnel, approximately 125,000, plus control of the Basij militia, which can mobilize up to 1 million. Quds Force, paramilitary branch, 10 to 15,000 personnel involved in foreign operations, influencing groups like Hezbollah and Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria. Reports directly to Supreme Leader Khamenei, not the conventional military command. Source: Ritzau. The IRGC is a key force in the regime's response to protests, often deployed for crowd control, intelligence, and political enforcement. U.S. position and threats. While China calls for restraint, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened military action if peaceful demonstrators are killed. He stated aboard Air Force One that the U.S. military is examining very far-reaching options and warned Iran that any attack on U.S. forces or civilians would be met with overwhelming force. Iranian parliamentary speaker Mohammad Bakr Ghaliba responded by calling U.S. forces and Israel legitimate targets if Washington intervenes. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said he is prepared for both war and dialogue. We are ready for war, but also for dialogue. Araghchi also claimed the protests are under control and that some violence is being used as a pretext for U.S. intervention. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghai confirmed that communication lines with the U.S. remain open through special envoys or mediators. Advisory for Danish citizens. A given notice, 8th of January 2026. The Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs warns Danish citizens that extensive protests are ongoing throughout Iran, including Tehran. Large gatherings are extremely dangerous, and there is a high risk of arbitrary arrest or detention. The ministry recommends leaving Iran immediately and cautions that exit options may close at short notice. The Danish embassy has limited capacity to provide emergency assistance. Current status of Danish citizens. 60 Danes are registered on the Danske Listen in Iran. Registration is voluntary, so the actual number of Danish citizens in the country may be higher or lower. The ministry warns that there is extremely limited ability to provide help in emergencies. This update comes aimed ongoing violent protests in which at least 538 people are presumed dead and over 10,600 arrests have been reported. Opposition voices abroad. Exiled opposition figure Reza Pahlavi has voiced support for demonstrators, calling for continued protests and reminding citizens they are not alone. While international support exists, many activists like Yalda Sharkosh emphasize that the Iranian people must lead change themselves. A critical moment. China's call for restraint contrasts sharply with escalating US-Iran tensions. The protests, which began over economic grievances, have become a direct challenge to Iran's clerical regime, with the Revolutionary Guard playing a decisive role in enforcement. Analysts warn that the coming days will be decisive for both the regime's survival and regional stability. Even if the protests are crushed in the streets, many observers believe the uprising reflects deep structural issues the current system cannot resolve. This has been Danish-InfoNews TV with your latest update on Iran on 12th of January 2026. The situation is evolving rapidly and international tensions are high. For continuous coverage, expert analysis, and updates you can rely on. Subscribe to Danish-InfoNews TV and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead.